Welcome back, guys, to another video brought to you by your one and only literary pharaoh. Guess what, guys? I'm doing it again. Right now I'm on my 36th, or I should say 37th hour, going to the 38th hour of fasting. The last time I ate was, here we go again with me trying to think back. The last time I ate was, today's Thursday. The last time I ate was Tuesday. Tuesday at 5 p.m. And my normal intermittent fasting, as I told you guys before, is that I usually have a 20-hour fast, 4-hour window eating. So within a 24-hour day, I'm fasting for about 19 to 20 hours, and I'm giving myself a 4 or 5 hour window to eat. Sometimes it's more or less, but it's always over 16, 17 hours. I'm not a big stickler of watching the time. I just understand that if I eat my last meal, or if I consume anything at between 5 and 7 p.m., then I understand that by the time I get home from work and eat, it's way over 16 hours, sometimes way over 17 hours. So that's just been the way I've been eating for years. And that's not a struggle. The struggle recently is me pushing it to go from 19, 20-hour fast to 36-hour fast, or even 48-hour fast. And I believe today, by the time I get back from work and eat something, it's going to be another 48-hour fast. Remember, the last video I did a fast from Sunday to Tuesday, meaning that the last meal I ate was Sunday evening, and the next time I ate was Tuesday evening. It's getting easier though. But that wasn't the first time that I've done a 48-hour fast. But this is the first time that I'm doing it in a frequent fashion. I'm not waiting like a month to do it. You say, why am I doing it? Well, because I've started to incorporate more meat in my diet. And I was talking to my wife the other day. I said, I feel weird eating meat now. She said, wow, what's going on? I said, I just feel bloated. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I feel more tired, and I just feel bloated. I don't like the feeling. So my wife was like, just eat it once a week. And that makes sense. I think that during the weekend, because I'm not going to work, whatever I'm doing daily is not requiring that much energy out of me, in terms of, because the weekend I'm more relaxed. I mean, I'm with my kids. I do need energy to keep up with my children. But apart from them, or doing like house chores, those are menial tasks. But if I'm going to work and I'm ripping and running, I need to be mentally focused. And from a psychological standpoint, I need to be operating on all cylinders. I don't want to have mental fog or possess any sort of fatigue. And I don't like to feel bloated. And the reason why I don't like to feel bloated is because I pride myself on having a six-pack. I pride myself on having a flat stomach. I don't want to be that guy that when I pull down my pants, my stomach is sticking out. Or when I'm about to piss, I can't see my man region. Some men, their bellies are so big they can't even see their stuff because it protrudes out so much. Some men have so much visceral fat that it's disgusting. That bare belly gut stuff. That's not me. I've never been that way, but when I say I pride myself on that, it's because I've worked very hard not to have that. Many men around my age, in their mid-40s, they don't look like me. And that's not me bragging, I'm just stating facts. The reason why they don't look like me, because they don't put in the effort of disciplining themselves to look a certain way, or to discipline themselves not to have certain results. Because if you operate in the world and just do whatever is given to you, or you just accept everything, then more often than not, you're gonna succumb to what the average American male looks like. And most men around my age don't look like me. That's just the fact. I told you guys a couple of while back, I think July 4th, my neighbor had some kind of gathering at in his pool. He has a pool in his backyard. And a lot of people were there. Most people that were there were either late 30s, early 40s. Some were probably close to 50. And me and this guy, we struck a conversation. And I don't even know how we got to age. But I think he asked me, how old are you? I said, I'm 44. I'll be 45 this year. He looked at me like he did a triple take. Then he kept on like looking at me up and down. He's like, dang, really? You look good, man. I'm like, oh, thank you. You know, I had a lady when I at work one day. I did a presentation. She came up to me and I told her I have 3 kids of my own. She's like, oh, how old are you? I told her my age. She said, oh my God, I thought you were 28. I said, no, I'm not 28 years old. I was 28 years old years ago. So I'm saying that to say this, that I pride myself on not feeling bloated. I can't, so my wife said just eat it once a week, and that makes sense. So I'm not going to try to eat meat every day, or like I told you guys in my other video, my intent is not to add meat to make meat the main staple of my diet. I just want to insert a little bit more meat in my diet. That's all, just a little bit more. And I think once a week will suffice. I'm still going to resort to my plant-based diet, my plant-based consumption of food. That's still going to be my modus of operandi. It's still going to be the way that I operate. I still feel like that's the healthiest way to go. And then, plant-based proteins, nuts, cashews, almonds, pecans, walnuts, pumpkin seeds. I eat a lot of those. Almonds, I'm tearing those things up. They're high in vitamin E, which is good for your skin. They're great. So that's what I'm on. So right now I'm on my 37th hour, going on my 38th hour of fasting, because the last time I ate was Tuesday around 5 p.m. Yeah, Tuesday around 5, between 5 and 6 p.m. And right now it's Thursday, and it's 6 a.m. but going on 7. So you do the math. I think it's around that area. I feel good. Like I told you guys, it was hard. The first one that I did this week was a little bit difficult because it was sort of like it sort of inserted an equilibrium shock to me, because I'm like, okay, oh my God, I got to do this. First of all, I have to make the mental decision to do it. And once I've made the mental decision and committed to it, then it's just a matter of time. But if you want to do this, you have to keep yourself busy. You can't sit in the house with food around you 24/7. You can't position yourself near your pantry, because you're going to have things that we're creatures of habit. If there's a certain thing that you eat at a certain particular time, you're going to crave that. And it's not because you're hungry for it. It's because we're just creatures of habit. The neural pathways of our brains are fixed to operate off of that external stimuli. So we're going to be more prone, or have the proclivity to move toward that behavior of getting that particular snack. Not because you're hungry, because it's just something that you normally do. And I know when I normally come home, I'm eating my grapes and nuts, and I'm eating my watermelons. Like, that's what I normally do. But to come home and not do that is not because I'm hungry. It's a behavior thing. It's because I'm used to it. Like I said, we human beings are creatures of habit. So keep yourself busy, because when I'm at work, I'm busy. I'm not thinking about food. So that helps. When I'm asleep, I'm asleep. I'm not thinking about food. So keeping yourself busy at work, all right? Going to bed early. And then when you get home, find something to do in the house. Like me, sometimes I play video games. That helps. It's like if I'm playing video games and I'm concentrating on my video games, I'm not thinking about food. So that helps. Because sometimes I think when we're bored, food tends to be a behavior that we use to fill in the gaps of our boredom, if that makes sense. We are bored, because there's nothing else to do. We crave certain snacks. We crave certain things to insert a void of dopamine, because our dopamine receptors are craving certain things. But there's so many other things that you can do to increase your dopamine that doesn't require you eating sugary foods or junk foods. But oftentimes we are craving those things not because we're hungry. A lot of us are nutritionally malnourished, meaning that we don't have the proper nutrients from a molecular perspective to boost the capacity of our cellular function. So because we don't have that, our cells are craving nutrients, but we don't put nutritionally dense foods in our bodies. We put empty caloric foods in our bodies, which increases your hunger because now your cells are angry. So we are a byproduct of our cells. And I did a video a while back. I don't know if it was a video that I did or if it was a presentation. I talked about how we have over 150 billion, over 150 trillion cells in our body, and we dictate to those cells what we want them to do. And it's a matter of mind over matter. So if you're committed and you're dedicated towards something, your body will start to operate and move toward that direction. Is it easy? No, it's not. It's difficult at first because, as I said earlier, there's something called an equilibrium shock. The balance that you normally always had in your life in terms of what you're used to, if you add any shock to it, it shakes you up. That's what I call an equilibrium shock. And when you're shocked, you're in panic mode. So your natural instincts, instinctually, you want to move back to what you always did, which is your comfort zone. But to remain in a discomfort, in an uncomfortable position, and embrace being uncomfortable, that's when you start to shift and evolve and move into another realm or move into another dimension. And so as you do that, then you can push yourself above the status quo or above the baseline of what you always operated on. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm used to fasting for 20 hours. I mean, people tell me, they're like, oh my God, how do you do it? I'm like, back then, I tell people all the time, I don't even think about it. But doing this 48-hour fasting that I've been doing, this is my second time this week doing that. And to be honest with you, I've always told people, try something first and tell me how you feel. And if it makes you feel like crap and you don't like it, then stop. Like me, I started to insert meat in my diet because I've been a long time vegan. Not a strict vegan, but a vegan in terms of not eating meat. I still would dibble and dabble here and there in dairy products, so I can't really call myself a true vegan, but I can call myself a person that did not consume meat. But now that I've been devoid of meat for all these years and I consume meat, my body has now a fresh canvas, so to speak, if I could use an art terminology or an art reference. It has a clear canvas to see how meat will make me feel, right? If I'm a person that always ate meat, then I can't tell the difference because I've always ate meat and my body's used to eating meat. So if I consume meat, there's no new induction of anything to have a result from, because I've always done that, right? But because I haven't eaten meat for so long, now I'm adding meat to my diet. Now I can actually have a clear sense and a clear canvas and a clear pathway from a psychological perspective to tell you how it's making me feel, because I'm adding something new to my digestive tract. All right, and how the enzymes in my body are going to break the food down from a chemical perspective and how I feel afterwards, it's something that I can actually speak on because I haven't eaten meat in a very, 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 very long time. So now that I've started to eat meat, I don't like the way it makes me feel. I don't like it. I like meat, I just don't like the way it makes me feel. So I'm not going to eat that as often as I thought I could. I'm going to just eat it once a week, preferably on the weekends. And it doesn't, and some weeks I may not even eat it. Some weeks I may not even have the time to actually make it and eat it. Again, I don't eat out. I've never eaten out. I eat out probably 0.5% of the time. And I say 0.5, and that's when me and my wife may go on a date and we go to a restaurant or something, but we don't go out often like that. And when we go on dates, it's not always to restaurants. We may go to an event, we may go to something that doesn't require us actually eating food. Again, I'm getting used to this. And if you ask me, a literary pharaoh, how do you feel? I feel great, especially when I wake up. I feel more focused. What else? I feel lighter on my feet. Not that I've lost weight. Maybe I have, I don't know. But I can see, it's weird, right? We're told that against popular opinion, the popular opinion is that we're told to eat more foods. If you want to gain weight and gain muscle, you eat more. You consume more protein, which is true. You consume more protein. But I don't necessarily believe that you have to consume more calories. It just depends what kind of calories you're consuming. There's studies out there that says that shows that all calories are the same, but I don't believe that. There are other studies that show that all calories are not the same. So for instance, the same calories that I get from drinking a soda versus the calories that I get from drinking, or drinking drinking vegetable juice. Let's say I juiced a bunch of vegetables. There are calories in both. All right? Those two calories are different because one drink has calories that are coming from a nutritionally dense position, which allows your body to break those calories down differently. And the other one is empty, because the calorie is supposed to infuse your mitochondria, which is where you get most of your energy from. So if you're eating empty caloric foods or drinking empty caloric drinks, the spike of sugar would give you a false sense of energy, which we all have. Then you get the sugar crash. You get the crash because it's hijacking your mitochondria. It's basically sending false signals to your brain. And the false signal is telling your mitochondria, like, yeah, you have energy, but your mitochondria is like, I don't need this. This is not what I need. I'm going to push that out. So you're actually training your brain and training your system to be more dependent on empty caloric foods, which is why people who drink a lot of Cokes, who eat a lot of sugar, who drink a lot of sugary drinks, they are committed to doing that consistently. That's where the addiction comes in, because it does give you a temporary, fix of energy. It does. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It gives you a little bit of a boost, but ultimately in the long run, it's not something that can be sustained long term, meaning that you're going to have a crash. Whereas if you're doing it the right way, eating good foods and using your body as a central component of your energy. Your body is energy. If you give your body the nutrients it needs, the body will energize itself. You don't need external stimulants to energize your body. Your body is already encompassed with energy. Your body is the electrical charge. All you need to do is put the right things in it and your body will sustain itself. I've never been a big believer in putting something in you to give you energy. We are energy in motion. That's why we are emotional beings. E means energy, motion. We operate off of emotion. Like me right now, I haven't eaten anything. I don't drink coffee. I haven't drank anything with sugar. I have energy. I have focus. So when you start depending on external chemicals, things outside of you, because we already have chemicals within us, it's just up to us to make sure that we put in the right foods to help our bodies optimize its function. But if we're putting in synthetics or taking artificial supplements that are not produced naturally, things that are processed in a laboratory, then you're going to be operating off of something that's going to be more of a detriment to your overall health. It will give you the false sense of hope, because you're going to feel that, oh, it's working, especially when we have something called psychosomatics. We have people who are given placebos sometimes, and a placebo means that we didn't give you anything. We just put water in your medicine. We just gave you a water pill, and we told you that this water pill is going to make you feel better. If you believe that water pill is going to make you feel better, you will feel better momentarily. That's the power of the mind. That's why earlier I said we have over 150 trillion cells in our bodies, and our brain, the way we think, is going to dictate to those cells how to operate. So if you think that you're an ugly person, you're going to be ugly. That's why people who are always angry and people who are miserable, they start to look ugly. Am I lying? People who are happy, who are loving and caring, they exude beauty. I've seen women, they may not look physically, like at first, they may not look physically attractive in terms of, having the right measurements. But when you get to know them and sit down with them, there's an aura of beauty that emanates from their presence. And you start to actually change the way you look at them based upon their behavior and their traits. So that's why sometimes people say, yeah, a woman, if she has a bad heart, she may be beautiful outwardly, but once you get to know the woman, she becomes the most ugliest person you've ever known because of her behavior or because of her character. The character is very crucial in how we perceive beauty. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's a very true statement, because I behold my eye. So depending on how you make me feel internally by your character and by the way you move and by the way you reason, that's going to either accentuate or degenerate the way I perceive your beauty. At first, initially, when we look at people, that's the first thing we see is the external. But when you sit down and get to know that person, that beauty that we first see or first saw can either be accentuated, made even better because of the experience you're having with that person who already has the external components, or you can meet a person who's externally handsome if it's a man, or beautiful if it's a woman. Then you get to sit down and know that person, and you're like, oh my God, their attitude is horrible. The way they think is that makes them ugly. And what happens is that every time you see that person externally, it's repulsive. Why? Because the potentiality of them having the ability to be a great person, both outward and inward, is killed by their inward traits. So every time you see the outward beauty, it just reminds you of how horrible this person is and how lost of a soul that they are, or how much that this piece of species walking around you had the capacity to be something great, but they can't. It's almost like somebody who has the ability to be great and they just squandered their opportunities. That's what it does to you when you continue to see that person that's externally handsome or externally beautiful. You tend to look at them like, you're more repulsed the more you look at them, because you understand that this person had the potential. They had everything in their lap, but they've squandered it. There's nothing more repulsive than somebody who squanders what they've had. It's sort of like the story of the Bible of the prodigal son, the one that squandered all his riches to whores and prostitutes and started to eat pig slop. That story reminds you of wow, you had all this, you had everything with your father, but you wanted your piece of the pie. You wanted to go off and do your own thing, and you squandered everything because of your greed. So I know I got off on a tangent there, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we basically shape our reality based upon how we think. It goes back to those 150 trillion cells that I was telling you about in your body. Your body is a function of what you tell it. And the thing is, in our society, we have a lot of things around us that influences our perceptions. They influence our mindsets, and it also influences our worldview, which ends up dictating how we move and how we operate in this third dimensional reality. So again, doing this fasting thing is something that I committed to years ago, because I've always done the intermittent fasting. But I've done it for so long that it's not a challenge, right? You know, especially as a man, we're big on challenges or having a goal. At least I can speak for myself. You know, creating short-term goals where I'm trying to meet those short-term goals. And the more short-term goals I meet, the more convinced of myself I become, and the more confidence I have, because I'm meeting short-term goals. With that said, my wife knows this about me. Once I start something and and I see the great benefits, it's a wrap. You may ask, what do you mean by that, literary Pharaoh, that it's a wrap? Well, I mean that it's something that I end up being committed to on a consistent level. So I don't know what the plan is. I'm not going to say what my plan is, but I do know I'm going to start incorporating this 48-hour fast more often. Because I notice the older I'm getting, I have to be very, very selective on how I eat and when I eat as I get older. My body doesn't recover as quickly as it once did when I was younger. When I say recover, it means that when you eat a meal, when you're younger, your body recovers quickly because it's like feed me again. Your body's developing, your brain's developing, especially in your younger years. But now that I'm in my mid-40s, I don't need that much food. My body is the energy. Food doesn't give me energy. As a matter of fact, food makes me more lethargic. Like I said, when I started incorporating more meat in my diet, I told my wife, I feel sluggish, I feel bloated, it makes me feel tired. I don't like the way it makes me feel. So I'm a big snacker. I'm not even a big meal eater. Most of the things that I eat are nuts, pumpkin seeds, almonds, walnuts. I know it sounds weird, and you guys are gonna be, how do you live off that? How do you function off of that? Well, I'm still here. I'm not dead. I'm doing videos. I mean, I'm able to have all my faculties intact. I'm not. If you go to my work, I'm running laps around my coworkers. What I mean by laps is that, and I don't mean to put them down. It's just I feel like after lunch, they go down. After they've eaten their lunch, they're waiting for the end of the day to come so they can go home. They start to move slower. My pace is always on 10. And this is a person that eats less than them. So this fallacy or this misnomer that eating more food gives you energy is a lie. Eating more food gives you less energy because your body has to slow you down to generate the enzymatic responses to produce those enzymes, all right, to synthesize, to break down the foods that's in your body. And if you eat too much, the action of oversynthesis, that means your body's oversynthesizing to produce the enzymes to break down the foods inside your body. From a chemical perspective, if your body has to do that so much and frequently, you're going to be more tired because the only way the body can do what it needs to do is put you at rest. That's when people are sick, they're weak. You're weak because your body needs you not to move so it can do its job. The body is its own cleansing mechanism. The body is your energy. The body is the God. That's why they said God resides in the temple. The temple is your body. Not this hocus pocus spirit bullshit that these Bible believers believe in. That's not what I mean. I mean that everything you're looking for is already within you. Your job is to make sure you sustain yourself to a point where you're allowing yourself to operate at your highest capacity, at your most optimal state. If you're putting junk inside your body and eating sloppy, just eating every time you feel like eating, you feel like that's just what I'm supposed to do, then there's no distinction. You're just like everybody else. I'm not like everybody else. I'm different, and that's a good thing. Why would I want to be like everybody else? Why would you want to be like everybody else? Why would you want to follow? So create your own eating regimen. Do things that work for you. I'm only telling you things that work for me. My body chemistry, because I experiment with so many things. I'm always learning about new ways to increase or involve in terms of my body and my psyche. As I'm getting older, I'm into those things. I don't believe that just because you get to a certain age that you're supposed to just give up and that's what life is all about. I'm old. I don't even use that word old. I hear people say that all the time. I'm older. Back in my day, I don't even talk like that. And if I do ever catch myself doing that, I stop. I'm very intentional about not spewing those kind of words because I'm speaking to my cells. And I'm speaking to myself. Your cells is yourself. Your cells are hearing that. You know, every cell has its own memory, and you know all the 150 trillion cells that you have in your body, each of them are individuals, but yet the only time they come together as one is when you make an agreement with yourself, a conscious decision to commit to something. Then all of a sudden, those 150 trillion individuals become, boom, one. They become one. So it's very important that we speak life into ourselves. And even if you don't meet your goal and you have a hard time and you struggle, it's okay. Try again. And then don't beat yourself up about what you did not accomplish. Praise yourself about the things you did accomplish. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you've never fasted. Let's say you're the kind of person that eats breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like you eat 3, 4, 5 meals a day. And you hear this video right now. And then you try to do a fast, and you fasted for, let's say you slept, let's say you ate at 8 o'clock at night, and you woke up at 5 in the morning. So 8 to 5, how many hours is that? Is that 8 to 5? Is that 9 hours? Yeah, that's 9 hours, right? So you've already fasted for 9 hours, right? But usually you wake up in the morning, when you wake up at 5, you make a breakfast, or maybe you may stop by McDonald's or something, or Chick-fil-A to get breakfast. I don't know. I'm speaking to what average Americans do. Stop at Starbucks. I don't stop at McDonald's, get the little McChicken or whatever, breakfast muffins, whatever they call it, right? And let's say that's what you normally do. But then you watch my video and you tell yourself, you know what, I'm going to try to fast like that guy and not eat until later. And let's say you don't make it, you don't do the 18-hour fast to 6-hour window of eating. Let's say you don't make the 18-hour fast. And let's say you fasted, but you couldn't do it, and you ate at 10 in the morning. Like you couldn't help it. You were at work. There was some food in the break room or something, and you couldn't help it. You went out to go get something to eat around 11 or 10. But guess what? That's still a success. You say, literary Pharaoh, how can that be a success? I mean, how? I didn't do the 18-hour window of fasting. I didn't do the 19-hour window of fasting like you normally do. I didn't do the 20-hour. Like I didn't even get close. You're closer than you ever were. You didn't operate with what you normally operate with. You've already pushed yourself to the limit. You've already pushed the envelope. You've already stretched yourself. You've already turned something that was deemed to have limits. You've already put yourself in a state of being limitless. The first stage of reaching goals is to start somewhere. It doesn't mean you're going to get it the first time, but you've already pushed yourself. So when I say that there's a balance, yeah, you can acknowledge the fact that you haven't met the goal, but you can also acknowledge the fact that you've done better than you have always done. Usually you wake up and put breakfast in your belly. Today you didn't. That's a win. That's what I call setting your goals realistically. So you have a short-term goal. Actually, you have a long-term goal, but if you don't meet the long-term goal, start to compartmentalize what you've done. Start to compartmentalize what you've done, and then focus on what you did accomplish within that window. Even if you didn't meet the goal that you set. And then next day you try again. Guess what? Next day it gets a little easier because now your body's getting used to not eating in the morning. Then try again the next day and the next day. After 7 days of trying something new, it becomes a habit. And then once that habit is built in within your neural pathways, meaning that the neural pathways is that you're learning something new, the cells in your body are now aligning to you, the king, the dictator. Because the 150 trillion individuals that I call cells are all like, okay, hold on, this guy's really committed to this. He's doing it again. Like a lump of clay, it starts to bend and move towards what you want. And when your cells start to operate with you and they become aligned with your mental disposition, then you have the power to accomplish everything, because we are cellular creatures and we're cellularly charged and we're electrically charged by our cells. So it becomes something that is easy for you to do. Now you're on autopilot. The cells take over. Your cells take over. That's not even you anymore. Then people will start looking at you like, hey, John, or whatever your name is. They'll say, hey, John, like, how do you, man, I don't see you eat at work like that. How do you go all day? You have so much energy. Like, how do you do this? And you look at them like, I don't know how I do it. It's not even, you almost, like me, when people tell me that, I almost want to say that it's not even me. I guess my body's used to it. When you start speaking in terms of my body is doing it, it's not me, that's your cells, or what people want to call spirit, because spirit and science are linked. There's always a scientific reason for things that cannot be explained, but people give it spiritual credit and deem it to be some hocus pocus thing that we can't figure out. They say, oh, it's miraculous. There are people who can go a week without eating. I'm not there yet. I'm not to that level. But you can get there. You can get there. But that's extreme. Maybe down the line I could probably do that. But I don't see any benefits now of doing that. For me personally, there's some people that do that. They may pick one time out of the year where they do a 7-day liquid fast where they just drink water for 7 days. I'm not there yet. I don't want to get there. I think I'm fine the way I am. I think if I do that, I'll lose so much weight because I work out consistently. I run too much. I sweat a lot. I'm lifting weights. If I did that, I would crumble. Probably look damn near anorexic on the 7th day. People are going to start thinking I'm sick. But anyway, so yeah, so when your cells take over, that becomes something that's very easy to do. It's not even a challenge anymore. And so today, I can actually say and confess to you guys that are listening to me that doing this 48-hour fast again for the second time this week, it's easier. It was harder the first time. You know, it was harder. Going into the work week, I ate on Sunday. Then the next time I ate was Tuesday. I ate Tuesday. The next time I'm gonna eat is Thursday evening, which is today later on when I get off work. So those 48-hour eating things, I think that may be my new thing. But one thing before I end this video here, I don't want to make this too long because I understand that most people don't have the endurance to listen to long videos. I think now people are doing like shorts, a lot of shorts, because it's like our society, we are developing something called TikTok brain, where if something doesn't catch our attention for the first 10 seconds, we move off of it. But I hope that you guys that are remaining with me and listening to me as I drive to work are taking in the things that I'm saying and taking value to what I'm saying. I may not be the best person that you can listen to, but I hope that if you found my channel that I would feel that you're here for a reason, that the universe has aligned you to be here at this time. But one thing I have to work on and be careful of, and you have to also do it as well, don't overeat when it's time to eat. I've made that mistake of, okay, now it's time for me to eat, I'm going to try to stuff myself. That's not good either, because now your body's like, okay, oh my God, he's been empty. So it's almost like I'm going to use an analogy here, and I hope that this sends the message home. It's similar to I'm going to use a sex reference. You're with a woman, and you haven't touched her, you haven't given her a kiss, you haven't did anything with her to stimulate her sexually. It's been a while. The first time you touch her, you don't want to just jump right in and just get right to intercourse. You want to take your time, salvage the moment. Every touch, every hand your body goes across her skin. Every kiss is savored. You're not rushing anything. You're taking your time because it's been such a long time. And you want to make every moment count. If you rush it, like most men would do because they haven't had intercourse in a while, then the moment is short-lived. Yeah, you may get to the point where you're satisfied or you climax, and then you're done. But the experience could have been much better. Now, take that analogy and go back to food. You're hungry. You haven't eaten in a while. When you go to the food you normally eat, I will hope that these are healthier choices. Again, eating whole foods. I'm not telling you not to eat meat. I'm not telling you what to eat or what not to eat. I would prefer that you don't go to restaurants and get your food. I would prefer that you don't go to fast food restaurants and get your food. I would prefer that you cook your own foods. I would prefer that you use good oils like avocado oil and olive oil for your cooking. I would encourage you to stay away from breads. I would encourage you to stay away from pastas. I would encourage you to stay away from rice. I would encourage you to stay away from things that lack color. Things that are whites, stay away from, because they're nothing but sugar and they're glucose, which spikes your blood sugar levels. And it carries with it a high glycemic index, which is not good in terms of how it relates with insulin. Okay, so when you do decide to eat after a fast, take it slow. I'm speaking from experience, folks. I've been doing this for years. If you like, this 48-hour fast is new for me. Like the first day I did, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I did it from Sunday to Tuesday, when I got home Tuesday, I went ham. If you don't know what ham means, it doesn't mean I ate ham. I went hard than a MF. I went ham. I ate a lot, consumed a lot. Damn near felt like I was gluttonous. Was I happy? Of course, but I didn't like the way I felt later. You know why? Because after demanding and dictating to those 150 trillion cells in my body of what I want and how I want to be, now I've shocked them by eating too much. I've been empty. Now I've overfilled myself. Just like if you have an empty gas tank, you don't top off. What do I mean by top off? It means that when the gas thing stops, it means you're full. You don't keep putting more in there. So when I was eating, there were times I felt satiated, but I felt like, oh, I deserve to eat more. I haven't eaten in so long. I kept stuffing myself. Don't do that. And then my second thing is, my first thing, of course, is don't overeat. And secondly, eat slow. I'm a very fast eater. I've learned to eat slower. Eat slow. Chew your food to the most granular state, to the point where it's damn near liquefied through the mechanical breakdown of your teeth. Chew, 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 chew. Swallow. Take a deep breath and then go at it again. I know this sounds very pedestrian, sounds elementary. Like, how the hell is this guy telling me how to eat? What the hell is he talking about? I'm talking to the people who fast, because you don't want to shock your body with overeating just because you've gone a long time without eating. That's not the time to try to make up for lost time and try to consume as much food as you can. Actually, your body won't even be able to do it. Your stomach starts to shrink. And now, if you choose nutritionally dense foods to consume, you'll eat less of the nutritionally dense foods, because now your cells have what it needs to operate at an optimal level. You don't need to overeat. Like yesterday when I felt a little hungry, I understood. I just drank water and I felt okay. I'm training my body. I'm training my cells to move as I want them to move. And then once they're trained, my cells take over. Like my cells are taking over right now. I'm not thinking about food. I'm not hungry. I'm not even thinking about, oh, I can't wait till I get home to eat. That's not motivating me at all. Food is not a motivating. Food doesn't do anything to me. It's just something I just put inside my body to make sure I have the right amount of calories and the right amount of protein intake, because I do work out. So I want to be able to eat things that are going to replenish me in a sense. So, yeah. So when you come off this fast, whether you're doing an 18, 16-hour fast, 18-hour fast, 20-hour fast, or like I'm doing now, a 48-hour fast, do not consume your first meal with vengeance, as if, oh my God, I'm going to just tear it up because I haven't eaten. No. Be very sensitive to your body. Eat slow, and you'll be amazed that you're gonna feel full. And when you feel full, stop. Remember, you have a little bit of window. You're not trying to eat everything at once. Stop. Then if you get a second wind and you feel a little bit hungry, then eat a little bit again. You could eat within a 2-hour window or a 1-hour window. You can eat multiple times. You don't try. Your job is not to eat for 1 hour straight. That's glutton. That's stupidity. Don't do that. Don't, I have an hour to eat, I'm gonna just keep eating for a whole hour. No, don't do that. That doesn't work. Okay? So eat slower, eat less, and eat slower. And actually, when you eat slower, inevitably it'll move you to a state where you're eating less. But when you stuff yourself, your brain doesn't even have time to process all the food you've eaten until after you've stuffed yourself, and all of a sudden your stomach is sticking out, and you're like, oh my God, it hurts. I think I ate too much. Guys, I'm telling you this from experience. I'm not telling you something that I watched. I'm not telling you something that I think. I'm telling you something that I've done personally. And I'm telling you, don't do that. Don't make the same mistake that I make. Because we're human. We have to live and learn. So if I've made mistakes, I have to impart knowledge to you guys to give you guys the same experience that I've had, in hopes that you don't make the same mistake that I made. You do something different. Okay? So I'm here. I'm at my job. I'm parking. I hope you guys have a great day. And remember, your health is your wealth. Peace. Love you guys.